Hey, so I just thought I'd review the Strive Selectorized leg extension here. And this is the older version Strive. The newer version Strive has 9 cam settings as well, but the numbering scheme is a little bit different. On the old, it's 1 through 3 for lengthened, 4 through 6 for middle, and 7 through 9 for shortened, or end range they call it. And, I like that this has 9 cam settings versus the Prime version, which only has 5. The numbering scheme for Prime is similar to this, where it's 3 for lengthened, 1 for middle, and then 2 for the shortened, and then another couple positions as well. So yeah, everything else besides the cam, amount of cam settings and the stack is a little different. So you can see here, the stack on the OG Strive is no trolley, so it does not have like that big trolley thing that runs up and down and makes that noise. Instead, it's just the belt, Kevlar belt, that's routed to this clamp right here, and then it just pulls the stack up and down. So from here, these are 10 pounds, and then the ones at the bottom are 20 pounds. So I believe you have 10 of the 20 pounds, 200, and then 10 of the 10 pounds. So that's 100, so you get a total of 300 stack right here. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good for me. And then, I'll talk about the selectorized plate later. I did a little mod, but yeah, let's just get a couple sets on this thing. Hopefully you can see the whole machine. So normally the lowest setting that you'd have on the Strive or the Prime leg extension would be this setting right here. I believe that setting. So let's just get it really light. Let's get it really nice and light. Have it on 3. So you can see again adequate amount of ROM, but if I really were to max out, you can hear the stack bottom out here. See? And this happens on this older Strive, the newer Strive, and the Prime versions for me. So the cam's exactly the same size cam and shape for the Strive, the old Strive, the new Strive, and the Prime. These settings are the same. The length settings, selectorized plate settings, so like the position, range of motion settings are all the same. The Prime has a little handle for you to hold this things go up and down nice and easy. But other than that, it's pretty much the exact same. What should I say? I think the main thing with this unit that I like is, of course, the cam. You can change it to whatever you want, and since there's 9 cam settings, it's just like that incrementally, like a little bit better to me than the Prime. Even though the Prime is nicer, it has a shroud on the unit, so it's a little bit better for commercial use nowadays. A little bit less of a liability, since this is an exposed stack, and the same thing with the old Strive, it's an exposed stack. There's always a chance people get their fingers or whatever smushed up in the stack, So with the Prime, it's like a fully enclosed thing. And then with Prime, you also have a little knob to turn for like the 5-pound adjustments, because their plates are, big as well. So to do like the little 5 and 10-pound jumps or whatever, you have to use a little dial knob. Whereas on the Strive, the newer Strive, there's like these donuts. You just move across 3 donuts basically, because each plate of theirs is like that. It's like a 20-pound plate. Let's get this angle maybe. So again, this is still on the OG range of motion settings, since I copied it from the original plate. But I'll do a couple sets with like my newer settings, which allow for more range of motion. Then let's do like a middle focus for this one. Yeah, pretty nice. I'm honestly not too sure what the majority of these holes on the range of motion plate, selector plate is. I don't know what it's for really, because when would anybody ever want to really use like this hole right here? I don't know if you can see, let me just adjust it with, like, why would anybody want to use this hole? Right, like this is this thing. Like what is that? Like a shortened partial or something? I don't know, that just seems like really weird. Most, like, if you're gonna do this sundial thing, just have it have holes all around or something like that. Like, what's the point of like these holes right here? The majority of these holes people aren't even gonna use. It's only basically like the last hole or two that somebody's gonna use, you know? Yeah, that's one thing. Oh, another thing I should mention is that a lot of people like center drive leg extensions, right? This is not quite center drive. This is still like the drive is off to the right hand side, whereas center drive, it would actually be pulling from, I guess, a pulley or a cam or something right here, right in the middle. So it's your legs are on either side of some type of bar, you know, so that each leg is getting theoretically the exact same tension. There's no little bit of bend from the unit. Let's say like this bends a little bit further away on the outside and it's a little bit closer in on the inside, so then your inside leg would be getting more tension than the outside leg, like in theory. So this is not quite center drive, but it does have like this piece that's a little bit more stable from the middle. So I guess you could call it like a pseudo center drive, because it's not just a straight bar coming out. Yeah, it's a bar and then like another perpendicular bar. Yeah. So anyhow, let me pull out the OG plate. This is the OG Strive plate, selector plate that used to be on this unit. It was oriented like this. So A was at the very bottom, B, C, D, F, G, whatever, all the way to H top. So this would be my H setting right here. So it would be the very top, most useless settings, in my opinion. So I realized that you can see from the wear on this that the pin, the pop pin right here, can actually go a little bit further down before this pad actually makes contact with the frame and stops. So I just thought, like, this is a really simple shape to make in CAD, even though I'm a CAD noob. So I just mocked it up, put an extra 2 holes with the same exact hole spacing and distances between each, so that the durability will be technically the same, even though I use new material, so technically stainless steel versus mild steel. So I got it made out in stainless steel, and the reason I did that is just it was only like 20 bucks more, so like 20% more than a black powder coated mild steel plate would be. So I said screw it, just do stainless. And I actually made this hole for the camshaft just a little too perfectly tight, so I had to oil the camshaft and, like, you know, really squeeze this thing on, but it was basically just exactly perfect. But if I were to share the CAD with other people, I would just make this an extra millimeter larger. And the holes, I think I made it perfectly as well. I think if I went like a millimeter smaller, it might have been really difficult to fit into like the last 2 holes I made. But this is basically the result, is that this was the original last setting that the leg extension could be on. See, original last setting. And then I added 2 extra holes. This one right here. See, a little bit less. And then 1 more. And this one is just basically exactly perfect. Honestly, a little bit by coincidence. Like I did do a calculation, but I also kind of winged it a little bit when it was like, I think it's around that many degrees instead of actually taking it out and measuring it. So in the end, I got it to be ultimate wrong. And by ultimate, I mean this, like you have to really be about that range of motion life to want to do this. But basically, how I have to do it, it's really hard to just get in like this and squish yourself into it, into the very last hole setting. Like I can get into the second to last one, the one that one of the ones I made, so I still get good range of motion like this. You see? But like if I have a little bit of hip extension, then it'll like bottom out a little bit more. Even if I get my hips down, then it won't really bottom out for me. But to actually do the last hole, what I have to do is actually use like my barefoot shoes or something. But basically, I have to set it to the very last, just like that. That's in, and then I have to thread my foot in. And you better already have the weight selected, or else it's just not going to work. Throw my foot in and sit back. And then you can see as I sit back, the cam moves, the stack moves up. I would say about like 1.5 inches. So I have 1.5 inches extra buffer built in. If my hips rise up a little bit, there's still a centimeter or so of range. So if I get my hips down, do leg extensions. But again, you have to set the weight first. Take off your shoes or whatever, wear barefoot shoes, or just wear your socks, and then lean forward, get this thing really nice and tight, and then put your feet in afterwards. Then the reverse, you gotta get your feet out, There you go. Now, is that really practical? Yes, kinda. It's just in a commercial gym setting, unless you have a lot of people who have the know-how of, how to do that correctly and get in and out. It may not be that safe, honestly. But the second to last range of motion hole is pretty safe to get into. So I can see why, Prime and Strive, they didn't add extra holes. They wanted it to be a little bit safer, err on the side of caution, and have a little less range of motion, but it being safer for people to get in and out, versus like the super ultimate range of motion right here. So yeah, I think I droned on quite a lot about mods and little features, but to me the feel is just really great. I love the different resistance profiles I can get between all these things, even though I mostly stay in the 1 through 3 range, which would be, I guess, 3 and 5 on Prime, and 3, 4, 5 on Strive or something like that. So on newer Strive, I mean. So yeah, this is the Strive Selectorized leg extension, real fast. Differences are the cam numberings versus the Strive newer and the Prime newer. The stack being 10s at the top, 20s at the bottom, 300 pounds total. The trolley itself is no longer there. It's just a belt onto the stack, which I feel like is actually smoother, but probably less durable. But it's just like an easy replacement for the belt, so I don't really understand that either. Other than that, the internals are all the same, routing is all the same. So yeah. Oh, one last thing before I get one last set on and do another angle, but I think there is a way for me to mod this, not mod this one, but mod the prime so that it has the same amount of cam settings as drive. So how do I do that? So this thing right here, these are the settings for the cams. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I feel like prime would have this exact same piece. Looks almost triangular. Looks like a triangle with like an extra circle built in somehow, and then semicircle built in. And if I just match these angles exactly, then I could just, you know, recreate this piece with 9 holes for prime, and theoretically it would be the same / better than drive, because that's what's holding me back, at least just my mental nerdery. It's just I prefer having more options than not. So yeah, this would be really cool. Oh yeah, there's some guys who mentioned like, oh, the drive steel is better, like thicker gauge. I measured it, and like they're saying like, oh, stripe is like way thicker gauge, and I measured it and I don't think so. Like it's like a mix between 7 and 11 gauge or something like that. Maybe like the foot is thicker than 7 gauge. You know, like these feet right here, not thicker than 7 gauge, but the tubing itself is not like crazy thick. So yeah, let's just get one last set on this maybe. This one's going on for quite a while. A lot of yapping on this one, even though it's a simple ass piece. And get over on this side maybe. Yeah. Let's set this on shorten focus, and then this is the original last range of motion setting. This one is the new second to last. So I think position number 9 out of 10. And then this one would be the new last, so 10 out of 10.